How are you this afternoon? I hope you are very welcome in Amsterdam. Preparing my presentation, I just wonder what kind of title I will give the presentation. It's all about, of course, 3D printing. That's a very important issue, but you have to realize that this is one of the many disruptive technologies digital manufacturing is. So I choose to start my presentation with digital manufacturing. But secondly, honestly, you have inspired me because you have a lot of knowledge about living, isn't it so? And I suppose also of improvement and real development of living environments. So I think that combination of digital and living environment is a very interesting one. Although, actually and honestly, I think it's quite ambitious, isn't it? Digital manufacturing of living environments, it's quite ambitious. Moreover, it's perhaps even a dream, because I don't know if it is really integral, feasible, but although parts of it becoming reality, as we can see in practice now. Dreams can maybe come a little bit through, isn't it? So I will show you an overview of it, and we have to see the big picture, a kind of overview. We have to understand in what kind of movement we are involved, and also that means also for real estate management and facility management, of course. Concery is a developer of urban concept, creating collaborative environments and communities, and I'm also a member of the foundation, as you have wrote in the perspective, of the foundation of digital manufacturing in the Netherlands, making people more aware about the impact and spin-off of digital manufacturing, as in the context of the third industrial revolution, nowadays well known as the next economy. You probably heard about that. You see here our mayor of Rotterdam, Ahmed Abu Talib, who is a very great mayor indeed, but he is also an aspiring ambassador of our foundation. But first, because I want to play with you a little game, an exercise. We'll ask you to stand up. Is it possible to stand up? Let's see that as a little exercise. Okay, thank you very much. You're very kind. And he knows what I'm going to ask, because he was there 2.5 years ago when I did the same kind of experiment. I will ask you 3 questions. And when your answer is yes, you're still standing up. If your answer is no, you will sit down, all right? Okay, let's go. The first question is, are you familiar with 3D printing? Well, no. Something is happening in your okay. And then the second question is, are you working with it in your professional life or private at home? Are you working with 3D printing indeed? And now the killing question.
Are you 3D people?
Are you earn some money with it or have some benefit of profit for your may I ask you, you're still standing up when I ask the second question,
yes.
What kind of activities are you doing in your professional work? Designing, and you design with 3D printing?
We try.
You try? Okay.
We are starting to try.
And you?
Just for private, for fun to see.
Yeah, at home. Yeah. Yes, I have 2 grandsons, and I'm working with them to build a 3D printer. Why not? So I have to talk about it, but I have also to work with it. And they're smarter than me, I can explain. So, okay. Well, is it this? Yes? Sound good, isn't it? Okay.
At least the majority knows that it exists.
Okay. Wondering what is digital manufacturing? This is digital manufacturing. This was hot news in the Netherlands just more than a week ago in the Dutch papers, referring to a research which made this within 2 years possible. So that is imagine. I couldn't imagine several years ago that this was possible. But this is possible because of 3D printing and the capacity to do that in a very micro way. To seal a spina bifida, is that good English, spina bifida? Yes, okay. Of the fetus. Imagine that is possible. Okay. Well, you see here the first symbol, icon of the first industrial revolution is, of course,
Some years ago.
yes, it's I think more than 200 years ago. It's an icon, a symbol of the first industrial revolution. Do you know the icon, symbol of the second industrial revolution? You must know that. Think about Taylor. Car, yes. The assembly belt. It was Taylor who split all the functions from each other, you know. Well, but of course the car, or the introduction of electricity started more away the second industrial revolution. And now the easy one, which is the symbol of icon of the third revolution. It must be a very simple one. That's of course, people say the 3D printer. So, well, we have a short brief of 3 industrial revolutions, and what you see here is the difference between it. You see here a transition from national bonding to connecting, from handiwork to customized work, from blending to mixing, from small to refined, from communication by doing, just doing, to communication by digital information. That's the great transition we are involved. That's the movement in 3 industrial revolutions, and we're living now in the area of the third industrial revolution. It's not that I'm that defined this period. It was German Rifkin, the godfather of the third industrial revolution, who has wrote a wonderful book of it. They make us more aware that the third industrial revolution is really going on, and it's going very fast. I have a riddle for you. It's fast, it's flat, it's with each other, and it will cost less. What is it? What is it? Well, sorry, it isn't Madonna anymore. Sorry for that. She sung a beautiful song, "We Are Living in a Material World." You probably know that or remember that. And the material world is still existing, of course, but it's a symbol of the past time, even more nowadays. And that will increase. We are living in a digital world, and the combination of it, the digital and the material world, is of course fascinating. And that's the transition we are. Lenny Jacobs sang a beautiful song. Let's go digital, digital, let's go digital. You know the tune, you must remember that. And it's very simple for the transition in which we are part of it. This picture shows that the third industrial revolution is indeed a different revolution than the first one, because he is digital driven and not mechanical driven. The first 2 industrial revolutions were mechanical driven. The steam machine, the automobile, the assembly bell makes possible. Ford with his T-Ford and saying, you can choose any color you want. I have only black that you have to choose. So the difference between the third and the former industrial revolutions is that it is digital driven. So we have to understand what principles are standing for the digital revolution. I have distinguished 4 principles. Moore's law, the world is flat, the prosumer, and 0 marginal cost. And let's see what these principles means. It was Moore, just already 40, 50 years ago, who predicted that the capacity of transistors, for example, in a ship, will double every 2 years. And actually, the update development is increasing more than that. And we can see all the results, the consequence of it, the impact in our daily life. What I have shown you with the 3D printing in the uterus is only possible because this law is seemingly right and accelerating, increasing more. So that's explaining why the developments in our daily life are so quick and fast. So it's going faster and faster and faster, and you have to realize and to cope with it. Otherwise, you can deny it, of course, but then you're out. The second principle of the digital revolution, it's a metaphor, of course, shows Thomas Friedman. Just 10 years ago, he wrote this beautiful book. The content is about colonization, but he means actually that you can be connected everywhere, with anyone, on any place, and whenever you want, with people all over the world, by, of course, the digital or the information technology. That makes the world flat. And that's very particular, because 400 years ago, some very famous scientists like Copernicus and Galileo, they have discovered that the world was round. And they were punished by the Catholic Church, you know. It cost almost their life. And now, 400 years later, there's a guy who said the world is flat, with this very remarkable thing. It shows the introduction of this picture, the numbers of device, and you see that the Internet of Everything is coming up, is emerging, very radical, very tremendous. If you compare it with the introduction of personal computers, which have changed really our daily life. What will the change in the impact of the Internet of Everything? The world is flat. So it's inevitable. It's going to happen. This. And you see examples of it. Just looking to the news. I have had an interview last week with a reporter, journalist of the National Broadcasting News in the Netherlands. And he said they are just panicked because they don't know what's going on. So they have a problem to bring news about this development. It goes so fast, so fast. And it's also going with each other. You said something about that too, this remark. Well, we have the brilliant author Godfather, who wrote already in 1980 this very famous book, The Third Wave, and he introduced in that book a new kind of man, a new kind of people, a new kind of customer, client, and he called it in her the prosumer, meaning you, and you, and you, and me. We can consume a product, but as a prosumer we can also contribute to the production of that product, of that good, of that service. Because I have an idea, you have an idea, and we are wondering how we can manage it to make it reality, to make it happen. That's what he predicted, that 35 years ago, 35 years later on, while the consumer is existing, he is over there. You are the consumer. Meaning that we can develop high personalized products. That's also part of the digital revolution, a contribution of the digital revolution. And you'll see here and here how it works. It's a completely other structure of dealing with each other, of working together. As you said before in your speech, it's working together. It's a kind of working in a collaborative environment. So low-tech, mid-tech, and high-tech employers working together in, I call, collaborative teams. Not only separately or after each other, but together. That's a big change is going to happen. That makes the world really flat. And the fourth principle is by German Rifkin. He's the godfather of the Industrial Revolution. He didn't cause the Third Revolution, but he wrote about it and he defined it. So that's very important, because then you are aware that you're indeed in a third industrial revolution of the next economy. And just a year ago he wrote this book, and I have the honor to invite him as a member of the foundation of the platform Digital Congress, called Digital Manufacturing, a year ago in Rotterdam in the Congress, and he has given us a brief summary of this book, which is called the Zero Cost, Marginal Cost Society. What does that mean? We know that marginal cost is an economic issue, but zero marginal cost describes a situation where an additional unit can be produced without an increase in the total cost of production. That's the key. That's the principle of it. And it is true, I think, because you have something I want, but I won't pay you so much. And you decided, well, he's a nice guy, I can share it with him. And we have together more value each apart. That's a part of the sharing economy, also in combination with the circular economy, of course. Makes things cheaper. And indeed, we have some, we saw some marvelous examples, Uber, R&D.
BlaBlaCar.
BlaBlaCar.
You pay a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Well, the younger generation, I suppose my grandchildren, will choose not to be the owner of a car, but to share it with each other. So that's a very different. I have been raised in the period after the World War. We want to own things, you know. We won't share. Just me for us, your own house, and your own car, your own television, and now your own personal computer or an iPad. Well, I'm not only the owner of my iPad, my grandchildren is playing too the iPad. So, well, the next future is there, isn't it? But you see what kind of impact it will have. We are looking for a emerging different kind of economy we are used to. So in that field of development you are working and you are operating. And these four principles, they create the condition for choice of freedom. Choice of freedom, not only to be what you want, but also to choose your own goods, your own products, to develop them, to design them. And that's the main key. That's all about the risk of the third industrial revolution. That I can put it in cooperation with you, choose my own. I have a concept, an idea, and I manage it to produce, to realize it, not in China anymore, around the corner, nearby, because there's a 3D printer or another kind of smart technology in which I can manage to produce it, probably with others, and not only once, but several times, several concepts in the same time with the same devices. That's quite disruptive, isn't it? Than we know before. It's compare with the second industrial revolution, a very great big disruption. That's a period of the measure of mass production, we know, the assembly build. And now we are going in a period of mass of measure products. That's quite a difference. And that's the big difference. Freedom of choice. I hope you will remember that, because it's for your customers also very important. And actually, digital manufacturing is a process that employs additive fabrication to produce end-use items I told you before. They are digital driven by all kinds of software programs and making manufacturing possible without molding, casting, or machining. That's also a bit different, I said before, less mechanization, more digitalization and specification than the traditional industry. And creating more space, more possibilities for new kinds of craftsmanship. Not only high-end jobs, but also for mid and low-tech ends, but actually it's a rebirth of craftsmanship is possible with this kind of technology. and a way of working, design thinking. You see the process as a whole, not as split in separate activities, which happens to be together. And that's also important, it's clean. And being clean means that you don't have to go to the outskirts of a city to separate and isolated and industrial areas where you can do things, okay, which pollute the surrounding, but it's actually more and more clean. And that has a very big impact on how we develop our cities, because in the heart of the cities where we have thrown out all the industrial activities for more than 100 years, it is possible to get more in the industry over there, smart industry. So it means a reindustrialization of our cities is developed. And that's very important because it makes our cities more livable, more busy, more business, of course, more diversity. And we know, absolute economical law, that more diversity creates more specification of things, creates more welfare, and gives a very good business model to your city, of course, at the long term. Well, here I have a smart picture, I think, which explains how it works. You are smart, and you're looking for a place nearby where you can produce your smart concept. And probably you're looking for a collaborative environment in which you can share your ideas, your opinions, your ideas, make it better together. And by the way, you will find there also other facilities and other investment, because you want to earn some money with it, not only working with it, but also earn some money with it. That startup, of course, we are looking for at this particular moment. And we see, not at the outside, at the outskirts of the city, but in the city itself, we see such kinds of collaboration, of innovation of people, and the difference between all kinds of activities, all kinds of works, all kinds of skills. It's more a joint venture than, how do you call that, separated apart. Our foundation is doing these 12 disruptive technologies. Regrettably, this one we saw it, of course, last week in Paris, in the battle against the crime, cybercrime and terrorism needs that we have to do more about safety and security. Okay, this is a wonderful back picture of the map of the terrain. And it really is not flat, it is round, you see it. It shows all kind of application of digital manufacturing in the city, and also shows that we have quite an ambition, a job to do to make the city more smart than it is nowadays. But it's a very nice ambition. It's a kind of dream. But maybe get reality. Rotterdam, the city I'm living and I'm working, is planned with German lifting to be one of the most smartest cities of this part of the north of Europe. Showing smart buildings and smart grids, make it possible a ecological good footprint, and make it possible renewable energy, of course. But the thing is, the issue is, I think, it's not only smart buildings and only smart grids and all kind of smart infrastructure. It's also the world of little things. Things we just need, we see on the street. This bin is one of the more than 100 smart bins in London, in the center of London. And it shows a remarkable revolution, of course. But yeah, a bin is something you can throw some stuff in. Okay. But it's also featuring digital screen, broadcasting a live channel, or breaking live channel, and live traffic information. also can communicate directly with mobile devices through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth engineering technology. But the proof that the nexus isn't a concept I mentioned before, restricted to buildings, is the most humble object. We're just passing in, when we are just walking on streets of urban infrastructure, will need to do more than one job in a smart city. So, okay. Here you'll see that's relevant for you, for real estate management and facility management, some kind of technology I mentioned before. As I said before, the Internet of Things, connected technology, they will increase efficiency and optimize performance, improve sustainability, enhance the well-being of occupants. Okay, but the house isn't anymore a house, it's also becoming a living cell, equipped with devices that arrange, for example, that the windows only open at certain times during the day. Floors are equipped with sensors that will notice when a person is no longer standing up, would lie down, which happens actually in life, of course, it's going down. Rooms will be no longer completely heated, which is, of course, sustainable. And thanks to sensors, only those rooms that the inhabitants are occupying will be heated. So the footprint of your house, of your building, will reduce tremendously. As you see here how it works on an example of Jaapjan Resonance, which is a Dutch architect. Drones, you have seen them before, of course. It's not a dream and the play toy. It's happening already. It is a sharp picture, excuse, but you see it's still in practice. It's working. And you can imagine if you have a high-rise building and something going high is wrong and have to repair, then you can operate with such a drone in the future. For you, real facility management, it will be considered less as a commodity, more as a value-added service, but it needs a holistic approach to people, place, and technology. Wow! Information about the building becomes interactive and becomes available on real-time basis and is made interchangeable with, for example, smartphones. And for you, it creates new possibilities. Okay, big data we have mentioned before. It's very relevant. For example, by gaining insight in the actual uses of a building, maintenance can be optimized. And you know the example, of course, elevators underneath. Why people a lot of people make use of elevator A and not by B, which is very irritating. So big data can help you to make a good choice what you have to do. Robots also are being operational in the field of building, and they will do some routine work and tasks such as casting concrete or cleaning.
I would add thinking about the robots. I would add thinking, not only support.
Not thinking?
But because they are going to be much better than us, to think and imagine new processes and so on.
So what we are probably said that robots will be operated?
I just added a word on your last.
Okay.
Replace humans in building or routine work tasks, not only building or routine work, but on thinking new processes and.
Okay. Well, we have the discussion.
Yes.
Okay. You see here a smart example of a robot designed to disassemble concrete structures and enable the building materials to be reused for new prefabricated concrete buildings. So I think that's a very nice example of what robots can do in practice. And this guy who built a house, they told me in just 2 days. Unbelievable. Of course, 3D printings. We have seen them before. Make it possible to print parts locally which will impact the need for warehousing of inventory, and that's an economic thing, isn't it? Well, let's be honest, this is a playground with tools, with play tools. My grandchildren want to play with it. It's not only playing anymore, it's becoming reality. A building crane has become a 3D printing, a very good installation. As you see here, it's also a prototype, of course. You can print your own house as you, according to your concept. And the same installation can print another concept in completely different concepts in a measured production. This is the result of what in China, prototype house printed by concrete, but it's possible even on a larger scale as this. And then we are certainly in China. They have printed a 5-story building, more than 1,000 square meters surface, reducing the building time with 50%, and also the waste of material with 50% reduction. Honestly, they have printed parts of it in the plant and assemble the parts on the side. It is not printed at once on the side, which is perhaps the future. But nevertheless, the result, zero marginal cost, I told you, 140,000 euro. I couldn't imagine when I saw this alone. It probably must be true. And of course, the installation of the 3D printer is used. There it is in China. And here you see a picture inside. You see the layers of the printed concrete. Very good. Okay. It's also possible to print with wood, as this cover shows. Of course, it's a Swedish product, you know the company, of course. But
This is IKEA.
I think so. It's not an accident, but in Sweden they experience with 3D printing wooden houses, and that would be the case in the next years also in the Netherlands. It's not only ceramics or concrete or polyester and plastic or wood, it's also already steel. So you see here a deep printing of a very nice bridge over one of the canals in Amsterdam, and it's printed with steel. Right? Back to the future of the digital manufacturing of living environments. You see here a map, also a map of Rotterdam. You see several hotspots where application of digital manufacturing is occurring and is built, developed. For example, you can see here we have a former harbor area, and there we call it the RDA High School and the University of Technology of Delft. I'm just finishing 2 and 3. Okay, no problem. It's just with other naked movers like the inhabitants living around, but also students and the industry in the surrounding. They just creating a real maker space over there. Here, in the western part of the city, in a complete living area, they are just private initiative is developing a maker space, not only to make things, but educate younger guys in the surrounding areas to develop their soft skills, because they have a lack of soft skills. Just by doing physical things, they're learning how to be more social. So that's quite an interesting social thing, not maybe comparing with your concept, how do you call that, job at home, isn't it? Yeah. But it's the same local interest and investment, private initiative can make a difference, isn't it? And we have a lot of test labs around and in the heart of the city, and several entrepreneurs has restarted with innovation and applicate digital manufacturing indeed. We have to be critical, of course. famous Dutch architect Van Gogh. He said that it would be more convincing if the environment created by the technology business would offer a model of what a city could be. And he is completely right, of course. So a separate development of hotspots of digital manufacturing in your city has to be, we have to be prudent, and I think sometimes it needs everything is a more integral, comprehensive vision. That's what we looking for. We don't know exactly the impact of this on living environments, on neighborhoods, and the city as well. And that's my last question to you. What is the impact of all these revolution in technology for your daily life, for your organization? What is the spin-off? And I think, look, keep in mind the 4 principles of digital revolution, because it's going fast. So take care for a organization with a quick response. It's going flat. So organize your organization like a pancake, making your capable to introduce more work things like of methods of design thinking and co-creation. And if you do that, well, perhaps you have a nice result, lesser cost, and sharing, by sharing with each other, more value. Thank you very much.